Hi friends, let's start right away with the current news, of which we have a lot. In Afghanistan, nearly 2,000 people were buried alive after an earthquake and floods. In Britain, cities were inundated by floods and there were serious floods in Scotland. In India, there were landslides that engulfed cars, houses, and trapped people under rubble. In the Alps, the height of Mont Blanc has decreased, which has become noticeable in Europe. People in Indonesia are suffering from fires that have enveloped settlements and filled the air with smoke. We will tell you about an amazing blacksmith from Dagestan who has been forging sabers and blades for 40 years. And finally, we will introduce you to a bear climber who has been climbing in the Kuril Islands. Let's go. Let's start with the most important events. The death toll from the earthquakes in Afghanistan has passed the 2,000 mark. The disaster has claimed entire villages, destroying homes and infrastructure in cities. According to the country's Ministry of Disaster Management, the total number of victims has exceeded 99,000 people, mostly women and children. Experts warn that these figures are far from final, and the number of victims will continue to grow, as many people are still under the rubble. Recall that the earthquake with a magnitude of 6.4 occurred in the west of Afghanistan on Saturday. The epicenter of the tremors was 42 kilometers northwest of the city of Herat. At present, the victims are being provided with food and basic necessities, and those who lost their roofs over their heads are being transported to temporary shelters. At the time, Scotland is experiencing severe flooding due to the abundance of rainfall. In a 24-hour period, some areas have received more than a month's worth of rainfall. The water flooded streets and the first floors of houses, which led to almost total impossibility of movement on the roads in many regions of Scotland. Train services are also reported to be disrupted and people are in a state of panic. Such phenomena are not common in Scotland. In some areas, residents have been forced to travel by kayak, and some motorists who were caught on the road by the bad weather have had to be evacuated by helicopters. Emergency services are currently working around the clock, and locals and tourists are asked to postpone long-distance travel and closely monitor messages from emergency services. Meteorologists have issued a yellow weather warning, and it is expected that the rains could continue until the middle of the week. Powerful flooding has also hit India, and experts estimate it as one of the worst in 50 years. The death toll so far stands at 40, but it is feared that the number will rise. Torrents of water have washed away homes, bridges, and flooded streets, virtually paralyzing traffic. Thousands of people have been forced to leave their homes in an emergency and head to temporary accommodation centers. The night was the worst for India in some areas, where water levels rose up to 6 meters. The heavy rains caused a dam break at a hydroelectric power plant on the Tista River, one of the largest hydroelectric plants in the country. The event caused electricity and communications to be cut off for tens of thousands of people in the region. A rescue operation is currently underway. Mont Blanc now has a lower altitude of 4,805 meters, which is 2 meters and 22 centimeters less than in 2021. Surveyors attribute these elevation changes to the fact that they occur regularly and have been recorded throughout the history of observations. These elevation fluctuations are due to changes in snow and ice thickness, as well as the effects of wind and precipitation at altitude. The collection of data on Mont Blanc's altitude began in 2001, and experts have been conducting research to find out how climate change is affecting the Alps. However, not all scientists agree that the cause of the phenomenon is directly related to global warming. They urge refraining from jumping to conclusions too quickly and caution against direct association with global warming. And we have footage from Indonesia, where the city of Palangkaraya is shrouded in thick smog due to forest fires. Locals complain about the deteriorated air quality and are forced to breathe through masks. However, even this doesn't always help, and many have developed coughs and general health problems. Indonesia's president, Joko Widodo, has announced that the army and police will be deployed to put out the fires in the country. Earlier, due to the forest fires, school and university hours were reduced. Local residents are asked to take precautions and minimize time spent outdoors. According to NASA's Earth Observatory, the fire has destroyed about 267,000 hectares of forest since the beginning of 2023, much more than in 2022. This is Zavgarat Magomd Khadiva, and for as long as 40 years she has been making edged weapons in the village of Karbuk in Dagestan. Zavgarat developed a love for the art of blacksmithing in her early childhood when her grandparents created silverware. As she grew older, she decided to continue the family tradition and began working as a blacksmith. She skillfully creates knives and other items, applying her skills and passion for the craft. There used to be an art factory in their region, but after it collapsed in the early 90s, Zavgarat started doing it on her own. She notes that her passion and love for the craft has always helped her in hard times. Each product created by the craftswoman is unique and special. Damascus steel daggers and even Japanese weapons can be found in her collection. In conclusion, tourists filmed a bear climber in the Kuril Islands when he was climbing a steep cliff with amazing ingenuity. The peculiarity of his ascent was that he selectively chose areas with walls forming an angle of 90 degrees. The bear used its claws and natural agility to create a ladder upwards. It is noted that the bear successfully reached the top and continued its journey, but users on the network also emphasized that at any moment this animal could have been frightened by the presence of people and fell. But, fortunately, in this case, everything ended safely. Which of the news stories in this issue most interested and surprised you? Share your impressions and reflections about them. Do you empathize with the people of Afghanistan? Why does that country constantly face disasters, and why is the death toll always so high? And regarding the floods in India, what do you think is the reason why such disasters are happening more often and causing more destruction? Perhaps it is due to climate change, coincidence, or perhaps there are other factors, including even the use of climate weapons? Please share your opinions in the comments. It's important to discuss topics like this to understand how we can influence events in ways to improve our planet. Take care of yourselves and take care of our common home, our planet. Hopefully, each of us can make the world a better place by always keeping our core values in mind.